Hi, how's it going? Today we're going to go over how to draw a killer whale. We're going to do it step by step, and it's going to be for beginners. So if you hardly have drawn anything, this is for you. I'm going to go over two things. Number one, I'm going to go over the parts of the whale, just so you know the general, what to call stuff. And then I'm going to go over a demonstration of my own. And that's kind of it. You're going to be along for the ride. I'm going to talk you all the way through it. It's going to be simple. One more thing, if you have not subscribed here, it says that 40% of the people watching this channel have not subscribed. So hit that subscribe button and you're gonna see the videos that come out whenever they do, because it's kind of random right now. I apologize. But that's pretty much it. Let's get right into the drawing. Okay, so let's go over really quick the parts of the whale, parts of the killer whale. So this is not the actual drawing in which I'm gonna actually do, but so I've already talked about that already. So right off the top, well, let's just kind of draw the general shape that we're dealing with. The top, we have the large dorsal fin. The sharks in general made that essentially famous, right? They have a very distinctive dorsal fin that sticks up out of the water. Killer whales have it as well. It's different, a little bit thinner than like a shark's, much thinner. Some of them point right up. They kind of have this like pointed shape. Some kind of curve back and some kind of curve over. It just depends. As we go to the front, just a few key features. So in terms of the pattern of the color, there's this large white pattern almost always in this area, and that makes it look like the killer whale has like a mask almost. It's kind of cool that way, but in reality his eye is down here somewhere. Not as cool looking, but still cool. Looks much cooler to imagine the eye, that being the eye area. Then we go down to the pectoral fins on each side, right? So the one nearest us is like that. They have different shapes to them as well. They can be pretty large or not in various shapes, but for the most part, just kind of remember that pectoral fins. Really easy. It's really easy, honestly, the parts of this whale. It's pretty awesome. Underneath, I'm gonna go back here. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the color. Right, the top is black, the bottom is white. That's counter shading. The purpose of that is for essentially camouflage. If you look downward, let's say you're swimming, you're another fish, you look down into the depths of the ocean, it's gonna be pretty dark. And so if they look down, that pattern is gonna be much smaller. They might see that white of this thing right here. But almost all fish and mammals kind of have that, mammals that swim around in the ocean, they have some form of that. And it's very good because they look down, they can't see it. But then if they're underneath, let's say a fish underneath looks up, and let's say they're near the surface of the ocean, and you see the brightness from maybe the sun if it gets through, they're gonna look up, see a lot of white, and also see this white pattern as well, and they could, blend in a lot easier. They also, and we're talking about the pattern in terms of the color, there's a large swooshing pattern back when it starts getting toward the back part of its body, and that changes a lot. Some of them look, some of them make kind of this shape a little bit larger, some kind of make this drop shape, some look like a wave, and that's going to be up to the whale. I mean, that's kind of like, based on which whale you're talking about. Counter shading ends a little bit down here, and then it usually ends around the tail, or the tail will usually have it as well, but the tail itself is essentially obviously split in two, of course. It has a little bit of a dip, and I'll go over that in the actual drawing. Tail's obviously split in two, has a dip toward the middle, almost like a little bit of a, I don't know, I like to think of it like maybe like a heart shape. There was like a heart, the end of that. That's kind of what the shape it would make. It's kind of like it can fit in there. Pulling down, and for the most part, that's kind of it, actually. Very, very simple for the parts of this. Let's get into the actual drawing. So let's get into it. Okay, cool. So let's get started. I am going to first draw kind of. I want him to come kind of like 3/4 at me, and I don't want it like total profile. I want it to be a little bit more dramatic, and I think 3/4 is better. So the entire body, once you get that down, that's gonna be the hardest part. And it has a little bit of a point at the front because of the snout, but the entire body is essentially like a tube, right? I'm drawing very light. You probably can't even see this right now. And I'm gonna cheat it a little bit. I'm not gonna make him. I want his tail in it. That's the thing. Because normally when they jump, you don't really see the back of their tail unless they're all the way out. But I'm gonna cheat it and put his tail out here. Kind of taking into account that little heart shape I was talking about. This is gonna be a little bit smaller because this is gonna be further away from the camera. I'm drawing very light so that I can erase this. I'm using a 6B, by the way, and graphite pencil. It's kind of a heavy duty pencil, actually. I probably should be using a 4B, but I'm just going to use it for demonstration purposes. And then his mouth is going to part over here toward the center. Not the center, but like the bottom center. I want his mouth to part there. You can see kind of the bottom. I'm going to adjust the shape here. Kind of toy with this overall droplet shape first, right? You want to imagine he's jumping a little bit toward us, toward the camera. I'm going to put this up here, his dorsal fin. And I am going to find the far pectoral fin on the side. I'm going to tell you like a quick, oh, I'll tell you after the instruction here. So I'm going to pull up and find that shadow pattern. And luckily, since that shadow pattern runs right along the center of his body, you can kind of control the drawing a lot better with that. I'm going to change this shape a little bit, make this a little bit less round because he kind of has a slightly more bulbous shape when it's coming toward the nose, for the kind of the top of his skull there. And it gets big, but there's a little bit of a slight flattening over here. And it curls over and it wraps downward. So again, I'm doing really light. Hopefully you can see this, but don't worry about it. I will put in more later. Gonna draw that shape, that eye pattern there, a pattern for that. You can make that whatever you want. You can make like a bean shape. You can make it use more like a bullet shape. It doesn't really matter. It's kind of up to you. Pulling back here. They tend to also look like they're smiling sometimes, which is kind of cool and can be very cute. It's also scary because these things, killer whales, are so freaking scary. I know they don't really attack humans generally, but they are very, very powerful and scary. I've seen a lot of videos with them like basically taking out great white sharks. It's kind of crazy how that is, but they're just way smarter and just seem to be. They just have a lot more control and stuff. All right, other dorsal fin over here. I'm trying to figure out where I'm gonna place that. It's probably that one might be flat to the screen for the most part. And I think I have a general kind of layout of what I want. I think generally it'll be okay. I'm gonna put some water over here just to kind of like get it. Maybe I'll put some water back here just to kind of get an idea of where he's at. Right now I'm just more or less kind of scribbling in things for proportion. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to go a second layer. I'm going to put a little darker lines and they're going to be more consistent with what I want. Okay, so let's go in for some darker, more straightforward lines. And even though this is a round figure, I'm still kind of thinking a little bit in chunks here. His eye is like right here, his actual eye. I'm not sure to what extent I'm actually going to draw it though. I'm going to put that there as a placeholder. Pulling back. I'm going to kind of move stuff around over here. And I'm going to kind of go in and make this dot a little bit smaller. But I want to put that out there. And then I'm going to shrink that fin a little bit. Just a little bit. Because I want it back there. Pulling down on the lower part of his belly here. Pulling in. Again, kind of filling out this dorsal fin over here. Getting that shape down a little bit. That's just one on that side. And then the one on this side's a little bit strange looking. I want to kind of fix that. And finding this shadow pattern right here, which runs to the bottom of it. But I got to be kind of careful of this shadow pattern. But I am going to kind of run it down here. Find edge. So it still doesn't look like he's coming right at me, which is what I'm actually going for. So I'm going to actually adjust this shape a little bit. I think a lot of that's going to come through because he's so round. I'm going to find the shadow pattern down here, and then I'm going to adjust that. kind of fill that in with the side of my pencil. Fill that in. And after we'll go to like an adjustment phase. You know, I don't know if I want water in here at all, actually. I think it just makes it look dumb. I'm just gonna do this like it's a chart or something. All right, so we have our simple shapes in. We have our vague idea. We know where our shadow pattern is for the most part. I'm gonna put some value down here as well, some light value. Right here, some light value in the tail as well, but that's not gonna be the color. And we have to distinguish the difference between the color and the value. Oh, whoops, his other dorsal fin and his right here at the top. Um, and I want it to, so I gotta think of the cylindrical pattern. So I'm gonna be kind of, when I do this light shading here, I'm gonna wrap kind of my strokes in around, like I want it to come at me. And like I still don't get that effect, so I'm gonna put more kind of emphasis on that right here. And I'm gonna make things a little bit darker everywhere. So let me try that right now. You can do that with a 6B. The 6B pencil, you can totally do that. Coming forward here, the kind of the tip. I am gonna put the eye a little bit. I'm just gonna put a dark spot there. Gonna shift the eyes there. I'm gonna go over here and actually put in the blowhole, like I was talking about, just like a little bit of a shadow, because the light would hit it that certain way. So it's weird because killer whales are really simple looking. They're kind of deceptively simple looking. That's because there's not a whole lot to them, but simplicity has a lot to do with design has to do with simplicity, and evolution designed these things like really wild, really, essentially efficient. And so they kind of have this kind of efficientness about them when you kind of look at everything about them. Nature is like an insanely cool, uh, insanely cool, designer, I guess. I don't know how to say it. Okay, down here. In. Most of that in right there. A lot of this is going to be mostly darkening, like what areas do I want dark and which areas do I not. And that's going to be your decision making. I'm going to try to wrap my lines a little bit. For the most part, this area is going to be very, very dark, so it's not going to be too much of a need to do that. Darkening stuff down here. Kind of, again, I'm mostly fidgeting with stuff and trying to finesse things to come out the way I want them. And a lot of this is like what value to push when you're pushing different values. That's what you do a lot with like different animal drawings. If you do like animal drawings, by the way, give me a like. Also, maybe give me a suggestion of what animal maybe you want me to do next. I'm thinking about just doing a lot of animals because I've been really into zoological studies, so I'm really getting kind of into that. But if you guys want more of that stuff, let me know in the comments, or just hit a like because that'll also let me know what to put more on here. I want to go back to like just straight up drawing. I think advice videos are great and they're fun to make, but I might just go back to just straight up the how-tos for a good while. All right, so that I just don't like the way there's no counter shading on the tail, but I mean I kind of have to stay true to it, so I'm probably gonna just put some around the edges. I believe they kind of have a little bit coming in from around the edge, starting from the top. All right, and then just kind of, again, you're finessing stuff. Like some of these lines are too obvious, so I'm trying to take some of those lines away if I can, especially from the shine area. I'm trying to take some of these lines, pull them back. I have a kneaded eraser, by the way. I don't know who uses that. Those are amazing. Kneaded eraser. Just buy one if you don't have one. Get one offline. Alrighty. I'm kind of almost happy with this. Again, we're just doing one right now. Maybe I'll do another one with a few of them or a bunch of them. But this is just a simple video. Okay, so a lot of the real information as well is going to come from the white area. And so the white area is where I'm going to try to really throw in directional lines through shading. That this fin right here is what I'm really trying to separate. That's really looking strange to me. Put maybe a darker line here. It's gonna make that more obvious. Kind of make it connect a little bit lower because it was looking too small. And then maybe pull out a little bit of highlight on the edge of it with my eraser. That's the cool part. I love these erasers. And then I might throw just a thicker line all around because I like that stuff. I think it makes it look good when I throw a thicker line around everything. It can screw it up as well, so be careful. Use that with caution. It is a design element. Alrighty. Eye there. And that's pretty much it. I think this line is actually too thick on this side right here. I'm gonna try to reduce that a little bit. Kind of make that even more consistent. That's pretty much it. Thank you so much. Also, don't forget, I'm on Skillshare. I have entire programs on Skillshare. First off, let me tell you what Skillshare is. Skillshare is basically an online community of creatives. YouTube is that as well. YouTube, the difference between, it's basically YouTube, but more, how do you say it, quality controlled. So on YouTube, you can make one video on a topic. And on Skillshare, there you make programs. So for example, I have a program on there that says how to draw the eye. And there's 7 videos all hyper focused on drawing the eye. And so it's much more concentrated. And also they take out programs they don't like. So if they're not up to snuff, they'll just wipe out the program. So they're very, very quality control based. So it's essentially like a more quality version as far as learning goes for YouTube. YouTube is amazing as well, of course, but this is just another, really amazing option. So Skillshare is great. Skillshare is basically $30-ish a month, but through this video, you can do it for free for the first 2 months. I'm gonna have a code at the top of the description, and you can click that code and it gives you 2 months for free. And you can watch basically every program I have totally free. So go check that out. Also at the very end of the 2 months, if you don't want it anymore, you just, let it lapse. You just boom. I think you can just cancel it and boom. And you no longer, you had the whole thing for free and that's it. But check that link out. That's at the top of the description for those 2 free months. That's it, guys. Thank you so much. I love that you're here and I love hearing from people. So, hit me up on a small note. I know the quarantine's probably hard on a lot of you. I'm assuming a lot of you are in quarantine, but we will get through it as creatives, pretty much, as because artists kind of rule the world right now.